What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, we just got done watching the Band of Brothers series, and it was a really great series, obviously, but now we're going to get ready to jump right on into the documentary, which I would imagine is going to have the actual soldiers come on and talk about their actual experience of the war and basically give us the more real story of their time during it. So, like I said, the series was obviously fantastic, but now we get to actually get the true story itself from the actual source. And obviously, that's the best thing that we're obviously going to get a chance to experience during this. So, with that being said, obviously, we're going to go on ahead. Oh, yeah, this documentary is called We Stand Alone Together, The Men of Easy Company. So, we're going to go on ahead and get ready to jump right on into this. But first things first, we pretty much kind of hit a major milestone on this channel, managing to accumulate over 10,000 total people who wanted to come here and view my reactions. So, on all of your parts, thank you for that, because you are what make this channel what it is, obviously. So, with that being said, congratulations to every one of you, and let's jump right on into this.
Thanks.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for sitting down with us again. We appreciate it. Could you recount again for me the incident in which you were wounded?
Well, I was standing on the top of this hill at the aid station, and a random shell came in. It couldn't have gone off more than 5 or 10 feet away from me.
Man,
All I
5, 10
remember
feet
is
away.
a tremendous blast and a flash. And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the ground in the snow, and I tried to get up.
So was this in Bastogne? Since he mentioned snow?
I was, because that's all, the broken part, both femurs were shattered. And they were laying down here as I was in my back trying to raise my legs up. And I thought, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm about to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I said my act of contrition, because I'm a Catholic. And then the next thing I thought of was my mother. And I thought, what's she going to say? Because I was an only child.
That really just hit different right there. Like realizing that if you end up getting, taken out, then yeah, that's gonna be hard on your family, because obviously, they don't know whether if you're gonna come back or not.
My name is C. Carwood Lipton.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Huntington, West Virginia. Grew up in Huntington.
Frederick T. Heiliger. Concord, Massachusetts was my hometown.
I was born in a town named Inchelene, Washington, on an Indian reservation up in northeastern Washington.
My name's J.B. Stokes. I was born close to Bonham, Texas, in a rural area.
Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. My father worked for this railroad. My mother was a housewife.
My nickname was Dave, and my mother, she was a little Irish broad, red hair, fiery. Great woman, great woman.
Born and raised in South Philadelphia, where the times were tough. Mom had 10 children, so you had to work to survive.
That's what it was. It's just survival in the streets of Philadelphia.
Providing for a big family, that's a huge accomplishment.
We were in a store and a guy, he says, the USA is in a war with
Yep.
Japan. Everything just went silent.
I said, let's go in the Army. He said, hell, I don't want to go in no Army. I said, well, you're going to have to go sooner or later.
Something was wrong with you if you weren't in the service in those days. It was just what you had to do.
Life magazine had run an article on paratroopers. sometime in early 1942. And it told about the training that they got and difficult physical requirements. And I just got interested in seeing if I couldn't become a paratrooper.
Okay.
That morning after breakfast, they marched us all out there to the airfield. There was a bunch of guys out there that already made their jump, and they was all hollering, "You're gonna be sorry," you know.
You didn't want to be afraid, you know, because all these other guys are right
You
there
know,
with you.
you like seeing that, you know. When they look back on those moments, you know, it was rough during it, but when you look back on those moments, you know, you start to get a good kick out of it, you know. It's one of those you laugh later instead of laugh during type of moment.
We were ready. We were ready. We were stationed in England for about a year before D-Day. We had a lot of maneuvers and parachute jumping.
They put us in a camp, preparing us for D-Day.
Them realizing that the moment that they had to go up in the air, that was the moment the fighting begins. No more training. Gotta put the training to use now.
That infuriated me to no end.
13,400
When I
of them.
jumped on D-Day, I swore I was going to kill every damn German I came across. And that's why I think they nicknamed me Wild Bill, because I did a lot of killing D-Day.
Man. Whew.
The sky was pretty clear. The British come up with this. They call them leg bags. They got to be this big, and you keep stuffing everything you can get your hands on in them. It's supposed to weigh 10, 15 pounds. By the time you get done, it's 40 or 50 or 60 pounds. Everyone that jumped with a leg bag or supplies, they lost it. Most of the paratroopers that landed didn't have nothing.
Kind of spraying around in there. Whoever the machine gunner was down there that was concentrating on me apparently was not a very good shot.
God.
Firing in every direction. Even front of you, back of you, you don't know which way to go.
Just trying to hit whoever they can. Weren't gonna hit all of them, but just hit everyone that you can get.
There's a road. Try and slip to avoid landing on the road.
And I slipped a little bit, and my chute fell across the power lines, and I hit that fence and fell into a farmer's garden. And that fence had, I'll never will forget it, it had glass in the top of it.
Oh,
Cut me
God.
up. And everything went in. It didn't bother me. I was down.
I was about to say, yeah, like, yeah, them small little glass shards and stuff, that wouldn't bother you at all, considering you managed to avoid getting shot in the air.
We was plumb off our maps that they'd give us. So we had to make our that the beach was to the east of where we were. So we headed that way to get down to the beach to find out where the outfit was. As on the beach, those people coming in on those boats, those guns aimed right at them, you know, and just waiting on them. They had it tough. They had it tough. I divided the group into two units. Lieutenant Compton was with me. I gave him half the men, and I took half the men. Gave instructions. I want Compton, Malark, and when to crawl up there and hand grenade that machine gun. Crawl through the grass. And as you throw your grenades, I'll charge up with the rest of the guys. I had the two machine guns set up to give him covering fire. 3 Germans broke off from this position to run across the field, which was the wrong thing to do from their viewpoint. We cut them down.
I was in a trench and I looked and I saw an arm. I didn't even see. The man was in a camouflage tent. And I didn't even see him. And then I saw an arm stuck over that tent and one of those potato masher grenades, you know, with a stick, come over there and I said, well, he's gonna miss me. And that thing fell right down in that trench with me.
Oh.
And I was trying to scuttle my way out of the way of it, and it went off. And I felt like it blew my butt over my head. And pretty near did.
That was Popeye, right? Because if that's the case, then that's pretty much what had happened back in the second episode, I believe.
I'm sorry. I goofed.
I felt like I kind of let them down, but
yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
My God. It's beautiful when you think of a guy who was that dedicated to his company, to his buddies, that he apologized for getting hit. But that's the kind of guy he was. That's the kind each one of them was. They were all the same.
Yeah. That was pretty much their first mission.
Garnier and I decided we'd go to Scotland and get a tattoo. We didn't figure we had a chance to come home.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But we thought, well, hell,
feel that
the war
pain.
just starting. 50% not gone now, so it's a long haul.
Was the fact that people are continually losing helmets and equipment, and all this equipment's raining down. And if you got hit with this, you're going to be killed or wounded before you get off the drop zone.
Everybody got together. We all assembled very fast.
Yeah, this was a much more easier drop because they didn't have all that firing happening at them.
Like, no action, so I brought it back down, put the helmet on. I sort of peeked over. When I peeked over, I see a hand there with potato mash. He threw it at me. I ducked down, it hit my helmet and bounced off. So when that thing bounced off my helmet, I hollered out to the guys below, live a grenade.
If Lesniewski hadn't hollered live grenade and I had
took them all out.
to know that that's that grenade.
In the history of the U.S. Army. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Bastogne was rough. Like, ugh. 600,000 American soldiers. How many made it back out?
It is Bastogne, though. It is Old Jack's Woods, right?
Okay, that's actually cool. Showing the same area they were at that they were fighting in, but you know, during that time when they were able to go back to it.
Looked like they did in 44. Well, you couldn't believe it. You had to be here. You just dove in the hole and just sprayed. If it hit comes in, you ain't gonna know it. You ain't gonna know it. We lost Muck and Pentella over this side. They were killed instantly. Direct hit, 88. Direct hit by the hole. Bloods come over and he hollered, I can't see nothing of them. There's nothing there. They were all gone. Just disintegrated. Unmerciful shelling, really. Everything was shredded. Yeah, shredded.
I like that they got two of the soldiers themselves to actually come back to the area and specifically point out in good details what went on in certain areas and how it was.
Frostbite or trench foot or whatever you want to call it.
Bad move. A lot of snow. Not everything you didn't like.
At this particular time, we was on top of a kind of a hill. On top of the hill, trees. And we set up our positions around the fringe of the woods.
In Belgium, the trees are planted. They don't grow like they do in Maine. They're rows of trees. You look down a row and you can see a half mile. And there was on top of this hill, there was a ridge with a tree line. We were dug in on that ridge, Chairman, right where we were. And they really gave us a shellacking.
Oh, man.
In an instant, you know.
Joe got caught not near his hole, and Bill and I were ahead of him, and Bill had not been hit, and he came up out of his hole quickly, and we were still under heavy fire.
Joe said, Jesus Christ, what do I have to do to die?
Oh, man.
I got hit real bad, the back and the leg. And he's out there in a medic. Couldn't find a medic. I went out to see what I could do for him. Bongo, I got it too.
Doing everything you can to try to help one of them, you know, it gets back at you too.
Sitting on the ground, leg.
Situation.
When a man was wounded, we felt glad for them. We felt happy for them. He had a ticket to get out of there, maybe a ticket to go home. And when we had a man who was killed, we found that he was at peace. And he looked so. And we're glad.
We had this assistant squad leader named Mallet. He was from New York City.
All right, this is when they moved into Germany.
Started to surrender. They still had their arm. But as you're going down the Autobahn, the retreat that Hitler had for himself, and he built his eagle's nest house on top of the Alp to, I'm sure, relax and confer with his staff, because they all followed him to Berchtesgaden. This was a retreat. And of course, this is where they had their loot as well. This was the goal of the French, who were on our right flank. This was the goal of the British, and this is the place to capture. This is the one everybody wanted.
Hitler's Berchtesgaden retreat, burned by SS troops in the war's last days, from which he hoped to rule the world, now lies in ruin.
I made a 2-day thing out of it, and it tasted, didn't taste like ginger ale.
That was the only time that I can ever remember that when I was in service, they fell out in their underwear. We didn't even have to dress, you know. Everybody, we just fell out in line formation in their underwear.
They're enjoying themselves. They're at peace with the world. They have a big, happy, satisfied grin on their face. It was a
at that point where things started kind of getting more calm and more relaxing, you know, they didn't have to do all that constant fighting, holding the line or any of that, because, you know, they finally got through into there. Yep, and this is the camp right here. God, it's so surreal seeing those people like that. Like, those are real life people.
I might have been good friends. We might have had a lot in common. We might have liked to fish, you know. He might have liked to hunt. You never know. They were doing what they were supposed to do, and I was trying to do what I was supposed to do. But under different circumstances, we might have been good friends.
I have a great deal of respect for them as soldiers. They were very good soldiers. But they're still enemy. So they must be controlled as prisoners. Well, at least the level of surrender for company and smaller units. I was assigned as major. And when he walked in, he presented me this pistol.
Yeah, we saw that.
And offered his for my men. And the significance is that it wasn't until later when he had given me this pistol and I had a chance to look at it carefully that I realized this pistol had never been fired. There was no blood on it. That's the way all wars should end, with an agreement with no blood on it. I assure you, this pistol has never been fired since it will not be fired.
That's respect. Easy Company no longer existed.
I want to welcome
Okay.
each and every one of you.
They've all gathered for a reunion.
Celebrate the ending of a fine reunion. Thank you all for coming.
That's nice.
And I want to extend the best wishes to all the men from Company E506. I love you. God bless you all. Thank you.
The purpose the reunions serve is just to give us a chance to get together and talk to each other. We relive some of the Army experiences, but we have great respect and I might say affection for each other. The type of affection that you get when you've lived through many dangerous situations together and have learned that you can rely on each other.
If you see the people today, the bond you
You know,
plain.
the sad thing about reunions is that
You're thinking of battles.
you get to meet all the people that you met once again after such a long time, but as you keep going, you know, it gets smaller and smaller. So yeah, that's one of the saddest things about reunions.
These weren't just anonymous statistics. These were people that I knew, and these were. I told my daughter, I said, this guy here died at age 19 or 20. Whole life. Never lived. No family. No children. No opportunity to have some satisfaction of building a life. Nothing.
When I went there, I said, Dad, oh my gosh, Dad, you were so lucky. And he said, yeah, very lucky, and he started crying.
These guys have been with each other in the absolute base experiences of human existence. They were there with each other. Knowing you're going to die, thinking you're going to die, or seeing people dying all around you. And there they went, day after day, and I admire that. It helped my father even on his tombstone. Sergeant.
They'll never leave either.
Am I a little proud of having once served in that outfit? You bet your life. I wore that eagle on my right shoulder for 18 years. Probably the proudest thing my whole life, having been in Easy Company 506.
The heroes at crosses over there, the ones that are buried in the cemeteries. Those are the true heroes, not us. We're just part of it. And we thank God we got back alive. So.
Acknowledging the ones that didn't make it back as the true heroes.
Never come back. The son and mother and father of the heroes of the Second World War. I think guys will come home.
Let me say this. I don't believe there's a few heroes that came back from the war. They're still over there.
Do you remember the letter that Mike Ranney wrote me? Remember how he ended it? I cherish the memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day when he said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?"
No.
Grandpa said no. I served in a company.
Heroes. Yep. Oh, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That, is that the end of it? Hold on a minute. Killed in Action, Easy Company, Regiment. Okay, I ain't gonna be able to say their names out loud, but I am gonna read them. there's a lot of 44s and 45s. Airborne. Oh man, is that the end of it?
Joe Troy.
Wait.
Oh, there was a big Mick. And we used to have a few beers. From the water, Bridget, darling. That's the song Troy like. Oh, that's what he said. You only needed a sissel of beer. 2 beers you were drunk because you were in great physical condition. You were too peaked, you know, and 2 beers you were high as Georgia Pine, you know.
Oh man, that was fantastic. That's all I gotta say. That was an experience right there. Getting to actually hear from the soldiers themselves. It just makes it so much more meaningful. It truly just brings out the absolute best of this story right here. And you know, the reason why I say story is mainly because it's them telling their stories of their experience in the war, because you're not going to get a better point of view of it than from the actual source itself, and that's these soldiers right here. And quite frankly, to actually hear it straight from them, I mean, this was, like I said, this was made in 2001, so I would imagine that a lot of them are you know, they've passed on and they're gone. But like I said, at the end of the day, their story has been told. They've lived through their experience, and you know, at the end of the day, they'll forever be remembered for their actions and what they did to serve their country. And not just them, but the ones that didn't make it back. Even they had their stories told, and what they did and what they accomplished is, as every one of these soldiers say, they view them as the real heroes, because they're the ones that fought, and they're the ones that passed on through their actions. And you know, as a result, you know, we see at the end all their names listed, the ones that didn't make it back. And you know, it's just really a moment of realization that all those guys were probably anywhere between the ages of 18 and like 23, 24, all that, like very young ages, like not even a chance to live your life fully, like not even close. And it just truly brings out the actual horrors of how war truly is, you know. It really just makes you think, like, all this started obviously through the actions of others, and it results in bringing in other people to have to finish up those actions. You know, it's basically an old tale, you know, like, you know, someone starts something and they don't finish it. Someone else has to come in and they have to finish it. And that's pretty much just what I've gotten from this, you know. Like, obviously the soldiers themselves didn't, you know, they didn't have to, the airborne soldiers at least, they didn't have to do this, you know. They didn't have to sign up or go for this job, and specifically they didn't have the actual abidness to actually have to do all this, but they did it because they wanted to. They wanted to serve their country, you know. They wanted to fight for their country, and that's exactly what they did. And it makes it even more heroic on their part, just because they willingly wanted to lay their life on the line so that others could truly live their lives the way they choose to want to. And because, obviously, because of the sacrifices of the ones that didn't come back, and the ones that did come back, they're fighting, and their whatever sacrifice they had, it truly just puts into perspective that this was a war, this is a war that they fought in because they wanted others to have their freedom and their right to choose, because they had their right to choose and they chose what they wanted. And it just really shows you that, it just really shows you that even with your back's against the wall, obviously, you still have the choice to pick what you think is the absolute best outcome, specifically just in general. But yeah, like I said, this documentary was fantastic. It truly gave the true in-depths and the true story of the men of Easy Company. And, a lot of the explanations specifically of what they had to do to truly win this war. It truly puts into perspective that none of this was easy. Everything went against them. And like I said, even with everything against them, their backs against the wall, they still had each other. And that was all that they needed, was each other. And that truly made them the brothers that they were, the band of brothers. And, it's just a great story that was being told through their eyes. And I absolutely loved everything about this documentary, even more so than the series itself. But yeah, that's officially the end of this series. I'm definitely, in my own personal times, I'm definitely going to come back and watch this a lot of times whenever I can. But yeah, with that being said, make sure that you like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and whatever else I jump into next, I'll see you all in the next one.